Hey guys, how are we doing? It's Martin Cliffe here from my studio here in Hong Kong. It is the 13th of May, and I thought I'd give you a little bit of a recording update and talk about some guitar related stuff. As you may be able to see from the screen behind me, it is currently second period intermission in Game 5 of the Stanley Cup playoffs, and the Ducks are beating the Kings 4-2, so excellent. So I thought I would mention about these straps. I don't know if you can see it very well because I'm wearing a black shirt, but the guitar straps that I've been using recently, well, I've had one for quite a while, are made by a company called DSL, which are an Australian company. They're leather. They're really, really well made, and for decent leather straps, they're not too expensive. I haven't yet found a dealer for them here in Hong Kong, so I've been getting them in England. And you're talking £30–35 in England for a really good quality leather strap, which I don't think is bad going at all. There are other companies out there who will remain nameless who aren't doing anything better but are charging 60–70 quid for them. So if you're in the market for a decent strap, have a look out for DSL straps. And the cool thing about it, one of the cool things about them, is you also get a little sort of key fob, again made out of leather, that you can store your plectrums in, which is really useful. Except next year we don't have any keys, so I'll need one. Anyway, no, they're really, really cool. Little extra that you get with the strap, and I say really good quality straps. They're not. It's always worth thinking about what size of straps you need. I like these padded straps. They have a sort of foam pad in between the leather. Again, it's hard to see because of black on black. I should have put the brown strap on so you can see it better in the video. I've got that on my acoustic at the moment. But they come in, this is a 3.5 inch width, and certainly for me personally, I find on an electric guitar it's a little bit too wide because it sits a bit too far down my shoulder and feels a little bit strange. So I've got them in England, not here. A few of the 2.5 inch wide straps, which I'm hoping will alleviate that problem, because obviously it will then sit a bit more naturally on my shoulder. On an acoustic guitar or on a heavy bass or something, the 3.5 inch straps are useful because on the bass they help to take the weight a bit more, and on the acoustic the way that the strap button is kind of further in, so it pulls it back into you. Feels quite natural. But certainly for me, on an electric guitar, 3.5 inch strap is a bit wide. I'm also going to be putting some strap locks on the straps. I'm using the locks system. Again, they're in England waiting for me to go back in July, so I will let you know about that and do a proper review of them once I've got them. But I've heard very good things from a couple of people who I respect and know very much from kind of YouTube land and Twitter and all that, proper guitar players who have spoken very highly of them, so I'm confident about those. I don't know whether I've talked at all about the cable I'm using at the moment for kind of guitar to pedal board. It's a bit hard to see, but it is got a cool kind of braiding to it. It is a Lava Cable American Stadium cable, and again it's a really good quality cable. Well, not crazy money, but it's what I liked about it is that they give 50% of the profits from this to a charity supporting people who've been in the armed forces and are now struggling in whatever way. So again, it's giving a little bit back while using a high quality product, which is something that I like. In terms of the recording, I've basically been working on 2 tracks so far, one of which is kind of a reworking of Can You Hear Me, but in a kind of more upbeat and shorter, more condensed version, and the other one is kind of untitled. I say kind of untitled because it is being kind of carrying around the title of Gates of Asgard. It's probably not the title I'm going to go with, although I may do, I haven't decided yet. And I've been working primarily on getting the drum grooves together on those, and kind of getting a feel for the bass parts and stuff. I know where they want to go as songs, it's just getting the grooves right so they sound really good. Obviously, at the moment in this studio I cannot do live drums, so I've been using Superior Drummer with the Vintage Rock kit, which sounds great. It's just a case of getting the feel right, and I've got some really nice grooves. It's just getting fills that complement the music and don't just sound all the same. So that's taking a bit of time. I've got it sounding. The sound is amazing. I wish I could play you some of it. Maybe I will in a video in a little while once I've got a few more things tweaked out. So that's that. And finally, the thing I wanted to talk about, as well, on top of everything else, is about tuning of guitars, or alternate tunings, if you will. Now, obviously, the standard tuning for a guitar is E, A, D, G, B, E, and from pretty much the outset, and certainly 40, 50 years, people have been using alternative tunings for guitars. I spoke once in a video about a tuning that I like for acoustic guitar, where you drop the bottom E string down to G, down to C, the A string down to G, and then keep the D, the G and the B the same, and drop the top E string down to D. Played it around with that, and that I really like. And there's also a tuning called Dadgad, because of the spelling of it. So that's you basically take top E and bottom E strings and drop them down to D, and drop the B string down to A, and that's also quite a cool tuning. Again, both of those things are ones that I like with acoustics. And on electrics, I've used D standard tuning, where you take all the strings and drop them down 2 frets. I used that quite a lot when I was playing with the band Fallen Angel. And also when we recorded the first Voyager project album. In fact, it was all except for one track in D tuning. I haven't really done a lot with that since, because I found that I was playing in too many contexts where I needed to be standard tuned. Now, obviously, supplant me 6,000 miles away, and that's no longer really an issue because I'm not having to play with other people every week and all that. And for standard tuning, I've used 9-gauge strings pretty much all the time for 20 years. D'Addario 9s, at least 20 years. So, but when I got the Suhr, it was loaded with 10s, and it being a vintage bridge, not a locking bridge, the feel is slightly different anyway. And I don't want to mess around resetting it up for 9s, because I quite liked how it sounded with 10s, but it was just a little bit tight, particularly on the high strings for bending. So I thought I would basically take the whole Jimi Hendrix, and countless other people have done it since. A lot of the kind of cooler or better kind of glam rock, well, kind of 80s metal kind of guys, I did it as well. So Extreme and Winger, and who else did it? Guns N' Roses did it. Lots of kind of acts actually used it, so, which is just tuning down 1 fret, so 1 semitone to E flat, which is. So you could either think of that as E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, B flat, E flat, or D sharp, G sharp, C sharp, F sharp, A sharp, D sharp, depending on which way you want to look at it. From a tuning perspective, they are obviously the same, although from an actual music theory harmonic standpoint they're not. And on a fretless instrument you approach them differently from what I gather. But that's a whole other thing. Always an interesting thing. When is a D sharp not an E flat? But as I say, from a tuning perspective, they're pretty much the same. And what it does is it gives the guitar a slightly looser feel. Obviously I've adjusted the bridge slightly. Thankfully I didn't need to adjust the truss rod. So just loosen the screws in the back of the bridge, in the claw at least, so that the bridge kind of came forward a little bit to balance, because obviously when you reduce the pull of the strings by detuning them, the bridge will pivot back, so you just need to loosen the springs a little bit to balance it back up. And it just really has made the guitar come alive. So certainly, you know, the new recordings, I started out tracking them in E standard, and it wasn't quite working for me, so I've flipped them down a semitone, and everything is sounding cool. So it just really, as I say, it's interesting what just doing something like that can impact on the feel and the sound and the whole vibe of a guitar. So that's pretty cool. I'd like to know, your thoughts on detuning guitars. I've used other tuning. Never really got the hang of drop D. I've used it sporadically, I've experimented with it for sure, but never something I've got into in any big way. I think maybe I would need to sit down and dedicate a guitar to it for some period of time and actually work with it long term to really get a feel for it, and I have never been bothered. So I've used E flat, D, I've even used C standard, and in fact for one thing I tracked, I can't now remember what it was. It may have been the misaligned Staring at the Arc track that I recorded about 12 months ago. I was feeling I had a guitar dropped way down to drop B flat, so in C tuning but with a low B flat. That was just to reinforce the rhythm parts on the low strings and give me the chunk on that B flat chord. And obviously I've played 7 strings. I had a couple of those. In fact, I've had 3 of those over the course of my playing career. I would say E flat certainly seems a cool place where it is at the moment. So that's certainly what I'm going to be using for the time being. So I'd be interested to know your thoughts on alternate tunings and what you prefer and stuff like that. Doing it more for feel than for chuggy heaviness, just has a cool kind of impact on the guitar. So I'll leave a comment below. Till next time, take care, and I'll see you soon.